Thank you, Alicia. It gives me great pleasure to once again go through a couple of things with KMAR. So we're going to do pastoral entries. I've been asked to show you how to do your relief in KMAR as well. And lastly is a cool little addition that Jonathan asked me about earlier on in the year, how we can get notifications about particular students regarding their attendance or anything else that we're maybe interested in. I'm recording this, so I'll send out, I'll put 3 little videos together of each thing and put it on the St. Pat's website so you can access it from there. So don't worry if you don't keep up with it as I'm racing through it. You'll be able to watch it back at your leisure in future. So if you are on the KMAR home screen and you want to do a pastoral entry, you can go into Students and Pastoral over this side. I might just zoom out a little bit so I don't have to keep moving the windows. Empty desktop, empty mind. Okay, so once we're in pastoral, so that was students pastoral, you can pick a kid or search for a kid. So I'll have a look for somebody called Robert, and we can create new incident. We go through, we identify the times that it's happened, so you can shortcut by clicking some of the buttons, today, period 4, and then whatever the issue was, so it might be most of the stuff that you'll be doing is in a classroom issue. Click next, and then you pick from the list whatever it is that Robert has not been doing appropriately or missed or whatever. So it might be inappropriate behavior, select that. You can add more, but I wouldn't worry. Click next, and then the consequence, so 1 for weekly notes, 2 for weekly notes, parents contacted, so I might say parents contacted by phone. And this little button here is a dangerous one, publish on web portal. If you are going to publish it on web portal, that's all well and good, but whatever you put in other details, keep it professional. So don't rant about the kid and publish it on the web portal because the parents will see that. So just keep it objective whenever you're filling in anything in there. And then lastly, you click create, and it pops up with a little entry for Robert. If you want to notify particular people, there's a notify button here. So I can notify anybody who I want to enter the codes for. So maybe Kate needs to know about it, or Emma, because she's also in my line of sight. And then I click notify, and they'll get a little message through KMAR about Robert and whatever the incident was. I can also notify TT, which means it brings up all of his timetable teachers, and we can add, I don't think that includes house leaders there, so you could add, you know, Mr. Skills if he's a house leader, and notify. Mr. Skills, did you have a question? Good. I find it often easier to do the pastoral entries when the class is sitting in front of me. If you just click on the little P along from their name on the roll. So there's little letters here. If you click on the P, so let's find Ronan. Click on the P, and it pops up with that window that you've seen in the pastoral entry before. So it's just a shortcut of doing it while the kids are in front of you. And you can enter all the details as we did before. So that was pastoral entries. If you want to do your relief in KMAR, you can go to printing, teachers, and events planner. And when you're logged in, it's got your classes for the day shown up on the screen. If I decide I might not be in tomorrow, then I can go down. So the current day is highlighted in green down here. I can click on Tuesday, and I can click on any of these classes to start writing relief for it. Brings me up this little series of options. So my lesson title might be Waves Revision. Not going to worry about my spelling. And under details, I might, issue worksheet, and then whatever else I want to put in there. It's got the students down here, along with any that we don't expect to be present. And then when I'm happy with that, I can go back to teacher, and you can see my title for that lesson has popped up on my day. Once I've done it for however many lessons I'm out, so I'll just I can then go print lessons, and it'll print all the lessons at once rather than doing them individually. The only thing it doesn't do that I'd like it to is to print photos along with that. So when I'm doing it this way, I tend to go in and print off a photo list for the reliever as well, which is quite handy. But it can't do it from this window at this current time. Any questions on that? Alice?
So if you go over what the boxes on screen, it won't print anything extra.
Good call.
So don't overfill the boxes.
So that was when you're in the lesson. If you type a short essay here, then it will only print off the bit that fits into the box.
Change, which is stupid, but it only prints the original size of the box.
And dumb question, but just so it prints your class roll, but it does not everyone.
Correct. So it prints what you can see on that screen there will be what comes off in the hard copy. So it has the roll down the side. When I go to print that, I quite often just tell it to print 2 copies at once, so you can see there what it'll look like. But if I print 2 copies, then there's a list that the reliever can keep in front of them with the instructions, and a list with the names that they can send down to Donna. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to go into a student, and I will pick on Robert again, and I'm going to go onto his attendance, and there's a little bit that says message here. When I click on that, it asks me, do you want to automatically receive a KMAR message each time 2 unjustified absences are entered for Robert Davis on the same day by another user? Now, this might be useful if Robert was in your tutor group particularly, and you were worried about his attendance. You can click OK. The message bit changes to yes, and then if he's got Sharon and Bronwyn first 2 periods in the morning and they leave him as question marks, then it's going to flag that up to you as soon as the second person has completed their role. So you'll get a little message inside KMAR saying, Robert wasn't here today, or has been marked absent for 2 periods. So that might be useful to tutor teachers. I've been using it for sports people with Jonathan, who's wanted to know if kids who are, in first 15 or whatever have been turning up. My volleyball players are going to get this treatment on the lead up to regionals and nationals, so I can see that they're where they should be all the time. There's a little bit more to that. If you go into Pastoral and you click on Message, you can pick to be notified whenever there's an entry added for that student. So if Alice had Robert in her tutor group and she wanted to know whenever he had a pastoral, an attendance, discipline, or classroom issue, she could flag those and click OK, and then she'll get a little message inside KMAR whenever the student has one of those issues flagged against them.
How did you get there again?
So I went into, you can go students, details, and then pastoral, and there's a little message bit just next to his photo. And then that lets you select the pastoral entries that you want to be notified about. If you go into attendance, then the message one will offer you if he's been marked, unexplained for 2 periods in 1 day, you get notified. This will all be in a video. I'll put 3 little videos together and put them on the school website and email out the link to everyone. Daniel?
Is that already done for everyone in our tutor group? I'm pretty sure I get messages from my tutor group when they get pastoral entries anyway.
If the